So when it comes to the streets and the game that Tommy finds himself in, he's someone who lives and dies by the streets, and he's never been one to hide his face, and he's doing exactly the same in Chicago. He's not hiding from anyone. He's faced up to Walter Flynn, the CBI, and after episode 4 you can add the Serbs to the list as well. But he has had to slightly change his ways, and in essence, adopt his inner ghost, along with the savage of Canaan, but with his own Tommy finesse. And we're seeing him use all these tools that he's learned from his former mentors, because when he came to Chicago, he had nothing, but he found himself in the right place at the right time, when he was introduced to the Flynn family and the CBI by chance. So with the product that he has at his disposal thanks to Liliana, he used this as an opportunity to sandwich himself in the middle of both of them, and now we're seeing him team up with Liliana, Vic, and Diamond. Although Diamond doesn't want too much to do with Tommy's beef with the Serbs, but Vic was down because he's sick of waiting for his turn, and he wants to be his own man, not a boy. So let's look at Tommy and Vic's relationship first, because they really did throw us a curveball at the beginning of the season. Because when it came to Tommy and Vic, it really was hard to see these two working together because of how they kicked things off between them. There was this conflict between them in episode 1, where Vic didn't like the way Tommy was behaving, and then you have to add in the factor of him making a move on Gloria. Albeit Tommy didn't know about Vic and Gloria's on-off relationship and their past. But as time's gone on, Tommy's realized that Vic doesn't like the position that Walter has him playing, because for as long as Vic is under Walter Flynn, he'll forever be a boy, and he won't be able to live his life with Gloria.
We're in a legacy with Gloria. I'm not a man, right?
Not fucking right.
But if I stay with you, I'm still a fucking boy.
But on the other hand, Tommy knows that he could very well make a good addition to his organization because of how his actions have backed up his words. He told Tommy in episode 3 that he never says no to making money, and also kill Colin on Tommy's orders, and this gave Tommy a glimpse of what he could do. And again, when he approached Walter Flynn during the sit down to work together, he could tell that Vic was willing to work with them, but Walter Flynn was someone who went to the sit down with no intentions of working with the CBI. But Vic wasn't going to let this opportunity pass. He's sick of waiting for his turn, and he's also not willing to inherit an empire that's already crumbling, and he's not letting Walter's past beef and the history with the CBI determine what he can and can't do. So now we really are watching Vic Flynn coming out of Walter's shadow. But what I do think Tommy was impressed with the most, and why he respects Vic Flynn a lot more, because of how he knows that he's sleeping with Gloria, but he's still willing to work with Tommy, because he's not willing to fuck up a chance to make moves, just because him and Gloria are on a break.
Not gonna fuck up a chance to make moves just because Glow and I are on a break.
Money always comes first.
And this is when Vic Flynn proved himself to Tommy, because he wasn't letting his feelings and the fact that Gloria was seeing Tommy get in the way of business, because it's always money first. So we also saw Tommy backing off Gloria, which is also a completely different approach that Tommy would have taken if he was in New York. He would have had this zero fucks attitude with Gloria if this was the old Tommy, but he knows that he has to be smart, because he's just building his team and organization, and the last thing he needs is beef with Vic. But when it comes to Vic's position with his own family, Walter isn't doing himself any favors, because he's suppressing him, and all this is doing is pushing Vic into Tommy's direction.
I ain't dragging that kid nowhere he don't want to go. Maybe I'm pulling him up.
He knows that Walter Flynn is holding his son back, and Vic even showed how much of a man he was when he smoked 2 of the Serbs to have Tommy's back, and this is how Vic earned his cookie. But we do still have to ask the question, will Tommy and Vic last? Because I can still see Gloria being torn between Tommy and Vic, and this can still cause issues, as well as Simon, who won't like the fact that Vic is doing business with Tommy after he smashed his hand in episode 1. So I do think it's going to be a partnership that will have its ups and downs, and it definitely won't be straightforward. So that's Vic Flynn. But what about when it comes to his little sidekick Liliana? Because she's someone who Tommy went from trying to kill to now saving, because he wasn't willing to give up Liliana to Tatiana and the Serbs, even though she was the reason why Tommy's past history with the Serbs came to the front. But Tommy knows that she's proven that she can be a good soldier for him, especially with what we've seen her do. She made Tommy turn into the student when he came to cutting bricks. She also stood her ground in a fight with Tommy, and she's shown us that she's capable of using a knife or even a piece and kill if her back is against the wall. And Liliana is someone who's also been around Chicago a lot longer than Tommy has, and she's familiar with the power structure when it comes to the Flynns and the CBI, because she knew that the Flynns only move pills and not coke. So she definitely has been useful when it comes to her knowledge, and also when she was put on Claude Flynn to track her, because Tommy knows that she's also making moves of her own, and the moves that she made with a ghost text message when she was in trouble was real smart. So when Tommy realized that the product that Liliana stole was from the Serbs, he protected her by having her stay at Diamond's barbershop, where she showed his hair smarts again. She never takes product that she's not cut herself, and she definitely has her ways of getting money that she's owed, but a connection with Gernard that definitely can't go overlooked. So can Tommy fully trust Liliana? Because she's mentioned twice now that she's always on the side of money, and she'll always go where money goes, but she was someone who turned Gernard's proposition down when he offered her money to kill Tommy. So I really do hope we see her staying loyal to Tommy, and she's not done anything else to prove otherwise, because she knows that Tommy has had her back since they started working together, and there's still a long way to go as well in my opinion, because she's got all the skills that Tommy can use within his organization. But that's Vic, Flynn and Liliana. But what about Diamond? Because he's someone who's down with Tommy's vision, even though Gernard isn't, and you can tell that Tommy and Diamond have this respect for each other, and indirectly Tommy did have a hand in Diamond getting his top spot back with the CBI when he told him that he was invited to the sit down with Walter Flynn, because this caused Gernard to throw the towel down and telling his brother that if he wants it then he needs to take it. And we've seen this power struggle between Gernard and Diamond ever since he came out, because Diamond doesn't like the way Gernard does business, and let's have a look at the Yardies as an example. Now he had an issue with it when he came to Gernard working with them, as we all saw in episode 1 from this conversation, but when Tommy brought this proposition to Diamond, he was happy to go with it, and he told Gernard it was a good play, because as I mentioned before, he's on board with Tommy's vision. He knows the Yardies are soft, and they also don't have much manpower, and also because he's worked with Zamos before. But him getting this call just before the meeting went down was so suspicious, and definitely something that Gernard could have pulled because of his jealousy, which I'm going to go through in a bit more detail later on this week. But this also proves why Tommy is the right man to do business with, but one thing that he's not on board with is his beef with the Serbs. After Tommy mentioned that he wanted to cut Merkovic's head off so they can take the Serbs' territory and their pipeline, which is the west side, but Diamond knows that this shit with the Serbs is dangerous, and even though he's down with Tommy's vision, he wants no part of his beef with the Serbs. But as we went through Vic Flynn, he's down, and as Tommy's taken out 5 of the Serbs, Merkovic will definitely show his face at some point. And as much as Tommy's making all the right moves so far, I do think he needs Diamond's help with this one, because the Serbs are savage, and they definitely will want blood for Milan, Jason Mičić, and Tatiana's deaths, along with the other bodies that have dropped along the way. For example, they mentioned that this Serb has a twin, and his brother is definitely going to be out for blood. So I do think Tommy needs Diamond on board, and I do think he'll get him at some point. But while he's assembling his team with Vic, Liliana, and Diamond, Gernard and Claude Flynn are still a problem for him, and while he's already put things in motion when it comes to Claude Flynn, Gernard will be a bigger problem, because he's moving a bit snaky behind Diamond and Tommy's back. But let me know your thoughts with Tommy building his organization with Vic, Liliana, and Diamond down below in the comment section. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Powerbook 4 Force and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.